Hi everyone, it's Shannon here for Hero Arts. In today's video, we are going to create an easel card using the March My Monthly Hero Kit. I'm also going to demonstrate how to watercolor with the included Rainbow Reactive ink pad. To save some time, I've already gone ahead and stamped my images from the March My Monthly Hero Kit stamp set in Hero Arts Intens-ified black ink. This is a waterproof ink and I stamped it onto watercolor paper. I'm now going to take this Rainbow Reactive ink pad that is included in the kit and just smush it down onto this laminated sheet of white paper. I'm going to basically use that as a palette. Now I'll spray some water onto the laminate sheet, and then I will grab a brush here and then just pick up some of that water and mix it with the ink. I'm first going to mix together red and yellow and then a little bit of purple to create brown. So I'm going to start right with the hardest color and mix brown here. So once I get it kind of the right shade, I kind of keep going back and forth between those three colors till I get the right hue or the right brown. Then I'll go over to my tree and start coloring it in. And I do recommend kind of mixing up a fair amount so you have enough of that color to kind of color the whole tree in that shade. But it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. It's okay if it kind of changes shades a little bit because this is a tree. It doesn't have, it's an organic thing. It doesn't have to be one exact color. So I'm just continuing to work my way through and color all of the branches. I finished the trunk already, and I will switch to a smaller brush here for the really fine kind of spindly parts of the branches, which is what I'm doing right now. This goes pretty quick. It just takes time just to make sure you're not getting outside the lines. And I'm actually almost done here, just a couple more branches to go. So I went ahead and finished that up. Now I'm going to move on to actually the cat. I'm going to paint the cat brown too. So first I'm going to paint like a base of brown, kind of a lighter brown here, just basically the same color as the tree. And then I'll go back to my kind of brown that I mixed out on the palette, lighten it up a little bit more with just water. Just using water is all you have to do to kind of get it a lighter shade. And that makes it basically that brown to tan, which obviously I'm using to color the girl. Now that I'm done with her, and everything's dried a little bit, I'm going to start adding some shadow. So I'm going back and mixing more brown here, so using kind of the rest of the red and yellow to mix up some more brown, and I'm adding more purple this time to make it a little bit darker because I want this darker brown to be my shadow. So I'm kind of adding it at the base of the trunk, and this is so I can create kind of a gradation where it's darker at the base and lightens as it goes up. And then I will also use this darker brown to add kind of a shadow to the underside of the branches. This just makes the tree look a little bit more three-dimensional and have some more shape to it. So once I kind of finish that tree, I'm going to actually move on to the cat as well and add some shadows, as well as the girl, add some shadows to those with some of the darker colors. So I'm now actually ready to move on to the cat. First I'm going to mix up some more of that darker brown, again adding some more of that purple to make it a little bit darker. Then I will take that color and kind of add some of it to any place that would be in shadow on this cat to give it some shape. And then with a clean brush, I'll kind of blend it out just to make a little bit of a gradation over the kitty. And once I'm done with that, I'll then thin out my color using less water this time and just create a really quick little shadow on the girl's legs, arms, and side of her face. And now everything's basically dry because I'm not using a lot of water. I'm going to go ahead and mix some more of that brown, make it even darker this time, so more purple, to add some stripes onto this kitty's fur. And I think that will just kind of really give that, really make that cat look more like a cat with those stripes. So I'm almost done with that. And now I'm ready to move on to her dress. So I kind of cleaned my palette here, smushed down some more of that Rainbow Reactive ink pad just because I kind of used up all of the yellow, and I mixed the yellow with just the tiny bit amount of red to kind of make it a little bit more mustardy, and I'm going to use that color for her dress. I'm going to actually make the base of the card out of mustard cardstock, so I'm kind of incorporating that color of the cardstock here on her dress just so everything kind of matches a little bit better. And then I kind of lightened that mustardy color with the water and used it also for her hair. Now I'm going to go back and mix it up again, this time a little bit darker. I even added a small amount of purple, just so it didn't become orange, because if you add too much red to make it darker, it's going to be orange. And I don't want orange. I want it to be mustardy or kind of golden. So I added a little bit of purple to kind of darken it up, and I used that darker shade for a shadow on her dress and some shadow on her hair. Now I'm mixing just yellow and green and a tiny bit of red to create kind of like a sage or olive color. I guess it's more of an olive color, and I'm using that to color all the leaves. So really quickly, I'm just kind of coloring all the leaves here. Again, they're not all exactly that same hue, and I like that. So just the process of me having to mix up more paint does kind of change the hue a little bit on the leaves. Now I'm mixing up a darker shade of that red, yellow, green, but adding more green this time just to give it a little bit more, make it a little bit darker, but a little bit more vibrant. And I'm just coloring the base of the leaves now. So just at that point where the leaf would meet the tree branch, just adding a little bit of that darker green to give, again, some kind of shape and body to those leaves. Now that I finished all the leaves, now we're going to start coloring, kind of the fun part, start coloring all those little cute images inside the tree itself. Now for this, I'm just using the red, yellow, green, blue, purple color or ink straight as is. No mixing here. This is the really easy part. And I'm trying to spread the colors around evenly. So you have a little pops of red evenly around the tree, little pops of orange. Oh, well, I guess I do mix a little bit here. I mix to make orange just to kind of complete the rainbow. But the rest of the colors are just as is. Now I'm just going to continue to work my way through my rainbow of inks, continuing to color all those little images hidden inside the tree, as well as the stack of books here. I'm also coloring all those books in rainbow order as I work my way through, just to kind of really balance everything out. We're going to incorporate a rainbow later on the inside of the card as well. And I do even paint a little bit of, like, there's a hot air balloon and a guy parachuting. I can make those rainbow, and again, that just kind of incorporates that rainbow. We're almost done here. I do mix up kind of an olive green for one of the books in that stack, and then I go to the true green of the ink, and then I finish with the true green, or the true blue and the true purple. And we're here just about done, finishing up with a little bit of purple on this butterfly here. And then I will make a real quick little bit of brown, because there's like a coffee cup there. And then thin out some blue with water and use that just to really quickly create a shadow on her collar and kind of the lace parts of her dress. And that will actually complete all my watercoloring. So I went ahead and let those dry, which didn't take very long, and then die cut them out with the matching die. Now we're going to create our easel card base. We're going to start with a 4 1/4 by 11 sheet of cardstock. So you just cut a regular sheet of cardstock in half, and then you score at 5 1/2, and then you'll score on the front at 2 3/4. So it's just exactly half of your front, I guess, of your card base. And you can see how that folds, and that will create the really easy easel interaction. Really, easel cards are a super easy way to make an interactive card. Now I'm going to create that rainbow component as well as a stopper for our easel card. And I'm just holding this rainbow ink pad at an angle and kind of pressing more heavily when I come in contact with the paper. This is just a A2 panel of Dove White cardstock, and I'm kind of lifting as I get towards the edge to create a really kind of cool ombre look with just simply by pressing that ink pad directly to the paper at an angle with that swiping motion. So I went ahead and trimmed that down to 2 3/4, and I'm going to use the other half, just kind of stack the pretty rainbow on top of the other half, and that's going to create that dimension where it's 2 cardstocks thick, and that's going to help to provide that little bit of thickness for the easel front to catch onto and stop. So you definitely need a little bit of cardstock on the inside for that, to provide that little bit of dimension for the easel to stop. You can see here how that works. You kind of fold it and it stops or catches on that dimension from the rainbow piece. So I did take a sentiment here from the stamp set and trim it. I removed the I miss you You could definitely use the I Miss You, but you do want to trim it so you can create a strip from the top part of that sentiment really easy. That's why I trimmed it. I mean, you could mask it off, but I do prefer trimming my stamps. It's just so much easier. So I just stamped it in embossing watermark ink onto some black cardstock, dipped in some white embossing powder, and then heat set with my heat tool. And of course I trimmed those down. And now we're basically ready to put this card together. The first thing I'm going to do is actually adhere my images or my die cut images to the front of my card. But to provide some support, I did die cut 2 more trees out of some heavyweight scrap cardstock, and I'm going to just adhere those to the backside of my watercolor tree. This is just going to provide some additional support for that tree, so it stands up nice and straight and mails very nicely. Now I'm going to adhere my girl on to my tree. And because I did back up the tree with 2 layers of cardstock, I'm going to kind of back her up, give her a little support with actually 3 layers of cardstock here because she's glued on top of the tree, so that requires 3 layers of cardstock to kind of even her out to make her kind of the same as the tree. And now I'll add glue only to the bottom half of the tree. You don't want to add glue to the top, otherwise your easel card won't fold. So just add glue to the bottom half of your tree where it's going to come in contact with that lower 2 3/4 of your card, so the lower half of your card front. And now that I've got that stuck, basically my front is done. All we have left to do is add our sentiment. I did add 2 layers of black cardstock behind the sentiment to give it a little bit of dimension and lift. Sometimes I don't want to use foam adhesive because I just feel like it's too much dimension, so I'll stack cardstock. And now I'm going to finish by adhering my kind of my inside sentiment with the 2 remaining images of the kitty and the books, and that will actually complete our card. So here I'll hold it to the camera so you can check out the finished project. You can see that bit of dimension provided by stacking the cardstock, which I think creates a nice shadow. And then when we fold the card with that easel action, you can see the beautiful rainbow on the inside, which I think just kind of brings everything together and really adds some kind of freshness and life. I love that we were able to use the Rainbow Reactive ink pad to color all of our images. I think it was so fun to kind of mix those colors up, and again, it just makes everything very cohesive. All the colors are going together really well because they're all the same colors. I hope you guys enjoyed today's card and video. If you have any questions about the products I use, please head over to Hero Arts. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.